So recently in Mob Games Discord server, we've been getting a lot of new news on Chapter 4, Chapter 3 updates, a brand new Poppy Playtime game announcement, Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 on mobile, and most importantly, a book series coming later this year, and so much more. So first, let's start off with the main thing in this video, the new book series announcement, and how it's our first official teaser for Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. So a couple days ago in Mob Games Discord server, randomly out of nowhere, Zach Bellinger, one of the main sources of news, said graphic novels and novels are coming later this year. And one of the main questions about this is why they held off on doing a book series for so long, because ever since Poppy Playtime even came out, people always knew that there was going to be a book series someday, but they decided to hold off on it until after Chapter 3 came out. And these novels don't have any photos or release dates, but it's weird that they would wait until after Chapter 3. This seems like something they would do while we're waiting for Chapter 3 to come out. And I think that the main reason that they're doing this is because most of the novels are going to take place in the playcare, or maybe before the factory shut down, or maybe even from the perspective of the player, maybe some of the kids in the playcare, maybe some from the Smiling Critters perspective, I don't know. And they said graphic novels and novels. If you don't know what the difference is, graphic novels have actual pictures, novels are just words. And they said that they will be doing both, but I think graphic novels will be pretty cool to see more of the playcare and the factory in general. But now, how do these novels tie into Chapter 4? That is what the video is titled after all. Well, I think that some of the books are actually going to hint at future games, like Chapter 4. When Security Breach Ruin was first coming out, a book came out that hinted at the Mimic, the plot twist for that game, and I think that the Poppy Playtime books will be similar in the way that they're going to foreshadow what happens in future games. So I think at some point in the book, it'll be very subtle, but we might get a hint at the Chapter 4 monster, whether they mention some sort of animal that could be the monster, or they say the monster's name. And the books could also tell us a lot more about the lore, which is also pretty good. And I don't really know how they're going to structure this book. I don't know if it's going to be like a trilogy, maybe there's going to be multiple books, maybe there's only going to be one book, and I don't know if it's only going to be one story per novel, because if you don't know, the series FNAF has some books. Actually, a lot of books, and each novel has 3 stories, so when you buy one FNAF book, you're basically getting 3 short stories. And I don't know if Poppy Playtime is going to be structured in that way. We don't really have anything else to compare it to because no other mascot horror games has books. A couple do, but Poppy Playtime will definitely be an interesting book series. And I think what's going to be the most interesting about this is that we're going to learn more about the factory before it shut down. Maybe even at one point, one of the perspectives of the book will be from Elliot Ludwig. The theory is that he is the prototype, so maybe this is before he got turned into the prototype, but I think it would be cool to learn more about his family, why he decided to open the factory, and just more about his character because we don't know a lot about him right now. But comment below what you guys would want a Poppy Playtime book to be about. Who would you want to be the main character in the book, and what lore secrets would you want to find out? And I really don't know if these books are going to be a flop or a success. If they really advertise them well, I think a bunch of people could buy them because there was a bunch of hype around the first FNAF book coming out, and I think for Poppy Playtime it might be similar. But yeah, now let's move on to Chapter 3 on mobile. So in Mob Games Discord server, people were talking about how the Chapter 3 graphics look super good and they don't know how they're going to recreate it on mobile, until Zach Bellinger again said it's coming later this year. I'm expecting it sometime in the summer, and I think that'll come out on mobile and consoles at the same time, but the only thing with that is we don't have Chapter 2 on consoles yet, so we can't really expect Chapter 3 before Chapter 2, unless they release them both on the same day, which would probably be even better. And just like the message says, I don't know how they're gonna recreate that game in a mobile phone. The game's multiple hours long if you're beating it for the first time, and even if you're speedrunning it, it might take an hour and a half at minimum, so I don't really know how many gigabytes that's gonna be, hopefully enough for a phone to hold. And I just recently found out that Chapter 3 is 60 gigabytes, and for a phone they're gonna have to shorten that down to like 30, which is why I could see it taking a long time. But now moving on to the brand new Poppy Playtime game that actually released a few days ago. As I'm filming this, it came out today. It's called Poppy Playtime Forever, and we first started getting teased it earlier this week. We got a trailer on Mob Games YouTube channel, and it looks like they're partnering with another company that makes Roblox games to create this. And while I haven't played all of it yet, I have played some of it, and for a Roblox game it's actually pretty good. Not saying that Roblox is bad or anything, but we can obviously see that the graphics are not like official Poppy Playtime games, and that's obviously because it's being held back by being a Roblox game. Maybe if this was something like in Project Playtime, it'd be pretty cool. I think the areas in the game are actually probably the best part about it. We see a lot of parts of the factory that we haven't seen in the actual games, and they remind me of some sort of play area, backrooms, liminal space. But we do know that these places are actually not in the factory, and we know that from a tweet from Mob Games. About a week ago when they first announced this game, they said this: in partnership with Jazzware's Poppy Playtime Forever, a fun, non-canon extension of the Poppy Playtime universe is coming to Roblox on February 29th. They specifically mention that it's non-canon, meaning that whatever takes place in this game is not actually true to the lore, which makes sense. I wouldn't expect them to tell lore through a Roblox game, but I think with a couple more updates, this thing could actually be pretty good. Speaking of updates, another Chapter 3 patch came out on Thursday, and the reason I say another is because they've already done like 4 just in the past 2 weeks. Obviously just fixing more glitches, adding more to the game, making it better, which is always good. But now, I actually have some bad news regarding Chapter 4 and its release date. So first, if you guys can remember back to a little bit before Chapter 3 came out, we got news news that 3 employees at Mob Games that helped a lot on Chapter 3 ended up leaving the Mob company to go work on other stuff. But this was when Chapter 3 was in the final stages, so the game was pretty much done. And these people have been working at Mob Entertainment ever since Chapter 1 came out. So again, a lot of the games probably wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for them. And now since they quit, that already made us think that Chapter 4 was going to take a lot longer to come out, because now they have to find more employees. And even when Chapter 4 does come out, it might feel a bit different from the other games. I'm not saying that Chapter 4 will be worse, but it will definitely feel different, because the 3 head employees are not there to work on it anymore. But now we just got news today that another employee just quit. It's not that he doesn't like Mob Games, he just wants to go work on other stuff. His name is James Pelter, and he wrote like a whole essay on Twitter talking about how he's quitting. And I'm not mad at him at all for this, and I don't think he's mad at Mob Games either. He just wants to move on to other things, which is pretty normal. And this employee did most of the animation and rigging for Chapter 3. And now since another employee quit, Chapter 4 could take a lot longer to come out than we would hope. I still don't think it's going to be in 2026. They still have a bunch of employees over at Mob Games. I think maybe mid to late 2025 is a good time. It's enough time to put out teasers, trailers, more news about Chapter 4. And even if we do have to wait multiple years for Chapter 4, I know it'll be worth the wait. But yeah, now I want to talk about something that happened recently. It's not super big, but it is still really interesting. But the Poppy Playtime Chapter 1 official banner has been updated. This kind of came out of nowhere, and Chapter 1 is the only one that's been updated, not Chapter 2, 3, Project Playtime. And here's what it looks like now compared to what it looked like then. I personally think it looks a lot better now. I don't really know what it is that makes it look better. Maybe Huggy Wuggy is more darker blue than lighter blue. Maybe it's the fact that it's vertical instead of horizontal. But I hope that they update Chapter 2's banner to look like this, because Chapter 2's right now is okay, but it could be a lot better. But I feel like there is a reason that they did this, but I just don't really know why. But I think the most likely reason why is because the Chapter 3 banner looks nothing like the other two, mostly because the character is a lot darker of a shade, and the background is a darker red than a lighter red. And it looks like they're doing the same thing to the Chapter 1 banner. The red background is more dark now, and I hope that they do it with Chapter 2 soon. Project Playtime looks fine, but I feel like it could be updated a little bit, at least when the next phase comes out. But if for each game they're constantly making the banners look better and better, are they going to update it again for Chapter 4? And then maybe again for Chapter 5, maybe even again for Chapter 6. But I think if they just stick with this style that they have right now, it'll be a lot better. But let me know in the comments which one you guys would prefer, the new banner or the old banner. But yeah, now the last thing I'm going to go over in this video is something that actually happened quite a while ago, but I think it is still relevant to this day, and I haven't seen anyone mention it in literally months. But back before Chapter 2 released, there was a lot of questions about it. Is it going to be a sequel? Is it going to be a prequel? Is it the last game? Are we playing as the same character? And one of those questions actually came up in their Discord server a couple days before Chapter 2 came out. Someone was asking if Mob Games has ever planned to do prequel games, and they said maybe someday. We've certainly discussed it a few times. There's certainly quite a bit that can be explored in a prequel, lots of juicy origins, which reveals that there has been prequels talked about at the Mob Games company. And I think what would be really cool for another Poppy Playtime spin-off game is maybe an Hour of Joy based game. Maybe we play during the Hour of Joy and we get to see more of it happen, but we also play as one of the people in the factory and we have to hide and run from all the monsters. And maybe the bad ending could be the canon one, while the ending where you actually escape is the one that actually doesn't happen, because we know that everyone in the factory died on that day. But let me know what you guys think will be a good idea for a prequel Poppy Playtime game. But yeah, that's pretty much all the news I have for you guys in this video. I'm super close to 20,000 subscribers, which is crazy. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, it would really help support the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one.